Guys, welcome back to another episode of Build with Anna. Today I've decided to start a series here on the channel where we build a starter home together. I think it would be awesome to cover some building tips and tricks which you may or may not be aware of, and just hopefully for your next build that you will be able to incorporate some of these tips and tricks. And the aim is, well, build your homes. You know, create a sim and move them in and build a home. So today we're going to start off by entering the world of Newcrest, which is a base game world. And we're going to open into Oak a Clove, which is a 20 by 15 lot. Now, this lot size is generally what we would start with or with a starter home. And today I would like you to meet Shayla Haywood. She is a young adult and she is our sim. We are going to build her a house today. So what I'm going to do is I want to do this in stages. So we're going to build the house today and decorate it at a later time. So before I do anything, I'm actually going to install a little cheat called bb.moveObjects. So this cheat is going to allow us to freely move and place items because everything that we do when we build is built on a grid system. So for example, if I want to place something, it's going to have to snap. Don't know why I chose that. Sorry, let me get counters. It's going to snap to the grid, right? Snap to a grid. But we want to be able to freely place it. So what if I want to place it here? Like, what if I wanted to? I cannot. See how it's red? So what I want you to do, if you're following along at home, for your keyboard, so I want you to hold Control-Shift-C. You'll have a cheat bar come up at the top. So you want to type in bb.moveObjects space on. Enter. Now to close the cheat bar, you press Control-Shift-C and it will close it. So this will now allow us to place items within items, which is going to help us. Okay. I also like to change the setting to afternoon, especially building in Newcrest. Newcrest has beautiful lighting. So changing it to afternoon gives you more of a brighter look. It helps you with building. Okay. So today what we're going to start with is the actual build of the house. So I like to start with a room tool. Now the room tool, it simplifies it because you can just build boxes, right? And it's very easy to simply, you can press home to raise the walls up. Simply drag and pull, drag and pull. Okay, so that's what makes the room tool really easy and applicable to use. So that's why I like to start with a room tool, especially if you're new to building. It's going to help. It's going to help. Right, so I actually think we've got a pretty decent shape here. I do think, however, I want to create an entryway. Now, as you can see with how I did this, let's reverse back a little bit, okay? So this is what we call our box. Now, regardless of how you build, I can assure you somewhere in your build there is going to be a box. It doesn't matter what size it is, it's going to be a box. It could be a skinny box, it could be a long box, it could be more rectangle, it could be more square. Square. But however you do it, there will be a box in your build. And that's where I like to start. I like to start with a box and then I build on with boxes. So we know that we are going to have a front. So this is a starter home. It's also going to be just a traditional, like I don't know, your blue Suburban that you would build. So for me, I like to have an entryway. So I think today what we're going to do, so as you can see, this is 6 tiles wide. This is what I mean by when I say 6 tiles wide. So there are 6 tiles on the grid. So from that, I traditionally like to leave 2 tiles either side for my entryways. So I automatically know that I have to extend that out so that I can leave 2 tiles. So a 4 tile way entryway is quite nice, but you could make it smaller. And then if you want to adjust, all you have to do is pull those sliders. It's very simple. It's very simple. All right, so let's go back to our little bump out. So this is what I call a bump out, and this is why we start with a box, because everything you add to the box is essentially a bump out. And the bump out is important because it gives shape. So as you can see at the front, we have a very kind of a naturally like a U-shaped porch. But what if we don't want that at the back? What if we want like an L shape? What if we want to do a little bit of an L-shaped detail? So what we need to do is we need to add another room to our bump out. So add another square. Now, in relation to the starter home, we're going to make ours, a 3x4 box, but you could make that smaller if you wanted to and have a little porch. Okay, so we've got our U shape at the front. I just realized the shape of this. Now, you could still do an L shape if you wanted to, but we're not going to. We're just going to keep it square and keep it simple. Now, just looking at this, it is looking a bit funky. I am going to move this 1 tile over. No, I'm not. I'm not, friends. I am not. I think that'll be fine. Okay, so what I want to do now is add our porch. So we go down to the flat square button. Now, what you want to do is where the yellow items is where it's going to connect. So where it's highlighted, that's going to connect. So what you want to do is place and then move your arrows so that it's in line with the building. Okay? Unless you want to have an overhang. Of course, you could have a porch with an overhang, but I want to keep it a little bit more clean and symmetrical. So what you want to do is you want to pull the arrow that is solid. This isn't solid. So when it's not solid, it means it's going inside behind. So you want the solid arrow so that it moves in front of the building, in front of the entryway of the house. So again, we want to move the arrow so it's in front. Do you see this double-ended arrow in the middle? So what that does is it actually raises our square. So essentially this is it's like a room tool / a platform. So we'll come back to that. But I also noticed that I want a little bit more of a porch. So I'm going to move that out a bit. So we're going to do the same on the other side. Now all we're going to do is we're going to do a smaller porch. So we're going to bring that in 1 tile, and I'll explain later why we're going to do that. So now that we've got the porches on each side, now what I want to do is to press that middle double-headed arrow. So I'm going to go 1. Now, if you move it up 1, you will not require stairs to go up this. Sims will be able to freely walk up this platform. I don't really want to say it's a platform because it's not. It is a platform. Freely, so they will not have to. And I think that's a good trick for starter homes. That if you don't want to add stairs, you can just still create like a porch, but not have it high up enough, raised enough that you require stairs. Because once you go up 2, 3, 4, you're going to require those stairs. So for the sake of our build, we got to keep an eye on our budget, which you can go up to by pressing the venue info. There's all that information there. It tells you the lot size, value, etc. So that will actually raise the platform or the whole house and put it on what we call a foundation, and it does it for the whole build. So you could pull it at the front, but it's also going to raise the back, which is a good part to note. Okay, so actually I'm thinking we should go up another one. Go up 3. So 3 clicks, and that's got us there. So right now I'm thinking we're a little bit too close to the front of the build. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to here, this top menu bar. I'm going to press the move lot and house tool, and I'm going to go move lot. So what you want to do is you want to press this arrow, and you want to kind of judge it and kind of think, okay, whereabouts am I going to place it? And then you just press the tick, and you can trial and error. You can move it and then adjust it, move, adjust, move, adjust. We'll deal with the mailbox later. It's just going to chill there for a second. So now that I've done this, I think I had it right originally, and I think it was a little bit too forward. I don't know. And this is part of building. It's that trial and error. Okay, let's go into stairs. So we press the stairs button here. Now, when you get a stairs, it's probably never going to come out in the direction that you want. So you can just rotate it. Okay, and then we want to press the move button. So anytime you connect it to a building, like a platform, it's going to attach. So thing to note about stairs, there's actually 2 settings. So when you initially place this, there's a setting where it will have an underside. And for a lot of suburban homes, you would like the underside. But sometimes to save money, especially when you're doing a starter home build, push it in. So you move it in towards the build, right? It'll reduce the cost of the stairs. And then you see how there's this little bit of underside? Go ahead and delete that. That's going to save you a couple of simoleons as well. Now, this is where I'm thinking we needed to extend it because it just looked a little bit silly. So going back again. My apologies, guys. It's a work in progress. I think that looks good. You could, yeah. I'm thinking that looks good. Alrighty, so the next thing we can do is add some fence. I think we're just going to go with I'm just going to make sure, actually, sorry, that I do have Basegame only on, just so that we can ensure that we're not incorporating other builds in here, other packs, sorry. Just quite yet. I just want to keep it Basegame only for this purpose. Okay, so that was our fence. So with the fence tool, you can draw a fence freely, or you can place a fence on an enclosed section, or you can replace the fence. So I usually just freely place the fence. Okay, so we're looking a bit sad. I also want to show you something. So when you press on the porch, it comes up with this big yellow line. And what that outline, if you press that, it says build ceiling. So if we build a ceiling, it means it's going to add a ceiling onto this. Okay, so it adds a ceiling. So this is going to help with roofing, which is what we're going to move into next. So what my little trick is for you, I'm just going to remove that so we can see. You want to roof your box first. Remember that little box, that box that we started with? We're going to roof that first. So what I'm going to do is I like to pick a nice gabled roof, and we're just going to roof that box portion first. So we've got our roof in. Now, the easiest thing to do here is to press this copy key and rotate it so that now the roof covers our bump outs. Okay, and do you see how I did that? So I moved this main arrow, the solid arrow will move the roof piece. So these smaller arrows are going to move the trim. This is your trim. Solid arrows moves the roof itself. The roof is going to have a wall part attached to it. The trim will not. So the trim, see how it doesn't have a wall part? It just extends the trim. So that's a little tip. So now we're going to copy and we're going to place it at the back. And move that in, adjust that in, adjust. Oh, we've got an ugly side here and it's all, you know, poking through. So what you can do is you move the roof back to where it starts, press the copy key, add the roof in there. Now I want you to pull this small lever up and actually no, sorry. Okay. All right, we got there in the end. All right, so let me talk through that again. All right, let me go back. Let's go back. All right, so we've added in the additional roof piece, so we've copied. Now what we need to do is, what do? I want to move this trim up. I want to remove the trim. And then I want to, okay, so what I want to do is I want to remove the trim on this side, but not, I want to remove the trim on this side, but not this far side, because I still like to have the pretty detailing at the front. So I'm actually going to press the shift key and I'm going to move that arrow. So that's going to allow us to remove the trim on this side, but not the front of the house. So we still have the detailing in the front, but it doesn't quite have that overhang there. So I think that improves the roof a little bit there. And it's quite a nifty little trick for roofing. Okay, so now we have our little section. Make sure that it's there. And I'm going to lower that down. Pull out the trim. Move this back in line so that it's in line. If you look closely, there is a tiny little gap. You can just extend the trim part. Now, for us, I'm okay to have that little bit of overhang. If you are not, you could attempt the copy and shift trick. For today's purposes, we're not going to. So that's our roof. I think it looks pretty snazzy. So I've also gone ahead and done a very simple fence as well for the backyard. So the Basegame fence, a simple fence, ironically as it's called, is my go-to fence. I generally like to create a little bit of a backyard. Now for a starter home, as you can see here, this is not much of a backyard, but you'll be amazed of how much you can actually fit out here. You could fit some play equipment, perhaps a table and some chairs, definitely a little bit of landscaping, which we'll get to. And it's just enough for a starter home, just to give it a bit more interest. Now, as you can see, I actually haven't used a gate because gates are fairly expensive and also they never look right. They never sit right. So this would be the gate that would go. And as you can see, it's not going to actually clip in a place that we like. Let me pull this across. See how it just clips to the ends and it looks really bad? That's why it's just easier to have a gap. And it kind of looks, I know it looks a little unfinished, but I kind of like the look of it. And it saves money for when you're doing Basegame starter homes. Let's move into columns. Now, if I was to give you any advice on how to make a house look better, my two things I would tell you, 1, foundations, 2 would be your columns. Columns are your best friend. Now, my favorite column is the Annalise square column. I use it in every build pretty much, regardless whether it's Basegame or not. It's one of my favorite columns. So we're going to go ahead with that. Now, you can freely place a column like this, but once you place it, as you can see, it doesn't automatically pick up that column again. So it can be a little, annoying to have to constantly go back and forth. So what you can do is press the column you want, hold down Shift and just move around your build, adjusting and placing columns wherever you would like. So it could be, sorry about the zooming in and out, that was a bit crazy there. I usually start with a column on the corners. I don't know. So as you can see, with the corners, like so. And it just adds a little bit more detail to the build. They are expensive though, so you can kind of use them at your discretion if you are building a starter home like we are today. But I find them necessary. Okay, the next thing we want to do that also, I'm going to make it 3. I'll make it 3 points instead of 2. Roof trim. Every roof you build, please put a trim. It just brings so much to the build. Traditionally, I would use, I press C, the square roof trim or the beveled out roof trim. They're my go-tos. And you just press where the roofs are. Now, a little nifty trick is if you press where the top of this roof section, do you see how there's a line that goes across? It just, sometimes you want this, and it's like a natural feature that adds to the build. But what I like to do is take the beveled roof trim, which is a thicker roof trim, and use that to do that line. If you're going to do that line, use a thicker roof trim. It'll look nicer. And so as you can see, that will do that on both sides for us. Okay, now let's change the color of our roof. We could do a brown tone. Brown tones are quite nice as well. Oh, so as you can see, when we did that, it created a funny little line in our roof. So what you can do, so that basically means that because we use the thicker roof trim, it's just poking a bit. So we could just go back and press the square roof trim, still have a little bit of that detailing, but you can't see it through the roof. So unfortunately, we're going to have to use the thinner one. I would prefer to use the thicker trim, but that's okay. Doesn't always work out, I can assure you. It's The Sims 4. All right, now let's add a foundation. So this kind of build, we don't know if we're doing a brick house or we're doing a sliding house, what we're going to do. So I feel like to begin with, let's start with, I like to use the woody. And we're just going to start with a white. Let's start white. So we're going to go around and place that foundation all the way around. Now please note that this bottom section at the stairs, we're going to delete for money purposes. We want to make sure that we have some money. Now, railings. So every fence has a matching railing. So for example, this one here is the matching railing to the current fence that we are using. So depending on our budget, we may come back and change that because this is not the ideal fence that I would like. Okay, so far we're looking good. We're looking good. So let's press the down key so that we can look at the house. So what I want to do is I want to take the sledgehammer tool and I want to take all of these inside walls out so that we have a shell, what we call a shell of a house. Now you can simply press each wall and delete, or you can hold Shift. Is it Shift or Control? I think it's Control. And as you draw on the wall, it will remove. Let me just double check this. I should know this. Yes, it's Control. Okay, so hold down Control and move your wall and move the wall tool. It will remove it. So this is our floor plan. Oh, that's not what we want to do. So this is our floor plan. Okay. This is our shell. This is what we're going to do. So this build is obviously, so think about where you've got things. Okay. So we've got a porch here, but where can we want the door? Do we want the door here? Do we want the door here? And that's going to depend on what we call the floor plan and how we lay out the house. So we automatically know that, and I'm going to use my favorite door, even though it's very expensive. That's our front door, okay? Now let's place just a random door. So we can either put a door here or we could put a door here. For this build, sorry, hang on. Here. Here. Yeah, here. Because you want it to be kind of like in line with the stairs. It kind of looks prettier. Or off to the side. So that's our options in terms of the doors. Okay? So the reason this matters is because of the layout. So we've got to think about where are we going to have a kitchen, a bathroom, and those type of aspects. And whereabouts do you want those things? So right off the bat, we have what we call an entryway. So our entryway is obviously where the sim enters. Okay? So naturally you want to think about a hallway. I like to have a hallway that links our front door with our back door. Okay? So in this build, if I was to do that, it would naturally tell me to do this. Now, as you can see, it's a little bit rough, like there's not a lot that's going on this side of the build. We've got a big, nice open space here. So that tells me one of two things. It could tell me that maybe instead we don't want to have the door here. We actually want to have the door here. And that will then leave us room. See how that then opens that space. So our hallway becomes a different shape. It becomes shorter. And so forth. So let's think about the build and what we want to do. Now, I always naturally give bigger areas like this our main living space, and it makes sense, and I think it'd be quite cute to have like a kitchen and a dining, and then that goes out to the outside. It's a bit quirky, and I think that's cool. I think I like that. And then think about where we want to have the bathroom. Do we want to have the bathroom close to where the kitchen is? Potentially. So then a traditional bathroom in The Sims generally is I think it's a 3 by... You can get away with a... yeah, so we're going to get away with a 2 by 4 bathroom in this house because it is for one sim. But if you want to make it an even tile, you can do a 3 by 3. A 3 by 3 would work as well. Oh, our sneaky little column has poked through. Now I use the eyedropper to copy objects. So the foundation I had to repaint. Alrighty, so we've got a bathroom. Now, here's the thing. I want the bathroom to be accessible from this door. I want there to be a bit more accessibility there. So slowly, we're pushing everything ahead. Okay, now I want to change. And this is very much a floor plan. Like chopping and changing, this is the reality of a floor plan. So we've got to do her bedroom. Where is she going to sleep? So a good thing to do is to consider a double bed. And this is where placement furniture comes into handy. So you can just grab a double bed. Let's just grab this bed, for example. Now I'm using a right click to rotate that. So you know that for a bedroom, for a double bed, that you're going to need at least probably a 4 by 4, if not 4 by 5 generally room, if not wider, because of the shape of the double bed and how much room clearance. The clearance of the bed is what you want to look for. So I think that's nifty. So basically we're not worried about entering this main living area. So what we could do is now I love the use of a diagonal wall. I feel that it adds shape, but also when we come to decorate this room, it's going to allow us to add interesting points. So I think that's really good. I think what we could do in this house is actually just make this the bathroom. So we've got our bedroom, our bathroom, our main living area. I think we will need more room, so I'm going to move this forward a little bit. So our entryway is essentially just going to be this 2x4 area with a bit of a hallway. I like to have hallways because obviously you need a place for all of your doors. So that was just a top-down view, so that allows you to see what we're doing. But also you can change your camera angles up here where it says camera controls quite easily there. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to just pick a very simple base game door. Now this is just for the purpose of a floor plan, just to test things out. We could chop and change this completely. So I've got some doors in there. That's our door to the outside. So now what we want to do is windows. We want to place some windows. So we go to the window key. Again, I'll just put base game down. Let's keep it very simple. So the front of the build, because we have such a ginormous porch roof, you're actually not going to see very well the windows that go here. So you can just put a very simple window. If you didn't have that big giant roof, if you didn't have this main roof part here, I would use shutters because it looks prettier. But you're not going to see it. So for us, I think we're just going to go with the octapane windows. I love these windows. I use them all the time. And think about where you want to add light to the build. So I'm going to add it to my entryway. I want to add it to this bathroom. So we know it's a bathroom. So we're not going to put too many windows because we know it's a bathroom, right? So this is going to be a bedroom. So we know that, well, I know that we're going to put the bed facing this way because that's how our placement furniture was. So I'm going to go 2 windows there and maybe perhaps a window on either side like that. And then another window there. Oh, that's not the right size, but we'll come back to that. And then this area is going to be interesting. I'm just for now going to put the 2. But that could change very easily depending on where our kitchen is and where we want to place cabinetry and things like that. But there you go, there's all your windows. And I actually think we have a cute little area up here where we could put a small little window. Just a small little window. And again, so now I'm going to use the Alt key. So bb.move objects allows us to place it places, but the Alt key allows us to be very precise. So I'm going to hold down the Alt key and do what we call Alt placement. So you can see that. I'll just so you can see that a little bit more clearer as we do it. So I'm going to hold this, and that's where that naturally wants to sit, which is all right. But maybe I want to have it a little bit higher. So I'm going to Alt place that. Okay, so that is going to be the majority of our build. You could essentially put another window there if you would like, I feel. But that is pretty much the crux of the build. We just want to give it a bit of a paint job. Now, I just noticed how much money that we have. So I don't think this is going to be a starter home, folks. But it's going to just probably be a small bedroom home. That's going to be a base game build. I think that we're going to have to change it up a little. I think we just go with a siding. And I think we do, how about we do a red house? Now, if you want to paint walls quicker, you can use the room tool. So it will paint all the rooms. Alrighty. Now, to me, I don't know if the brown matches. So we're going to go back to the roof patterns and go with a, let me just have a quick look. Maybe it does. Do we like it? Should we put the shingled roof? Maybe a shingled roof. Oh, that looks very barn-like. Yes, I think we use the scalloped pine roof. I don't know who came up with the names of these, but I think we changed the roof. I think that looks a little bit nicer. Do we have too much trim on this roof? No, we do not. Okay. Yeah, so now that we know that we're going to have red, let's go back to the foundation and let's have a look at what we can know. That's not look. Maybe brick. Ooh, let's move into some brick. All right, let's move into some brick. I think the brick suits it a little better. Quite nice. Alrighty, and then the other thing we need to do is to put some flooring here onto the porch. I think we just stick with a nice bit of a decking. Let's use the new one from the update. I think that'd be awesome. So the antique wood strip flooring. Now see how it comes in and the wood is running horizontally. What if we want to do it vertically? What if we want the wood to go vertical? So we're actually going to hit the greater than or less than bracket key, and that's going to change the direction. You can pull and drag or hold down shift and it will paint, well, it would apply the flooring to the room. Now I'm just going to speed forward for our next one and I'm just going to apply flooring just very quickly because I like to use the same flooring inside and out. I've left a space because that will be clearly for our bathroom. So there we have it. So I'd like to leave today's video here. So as you can see, we have built the main portion of the house and our next stage of that build will be potentially landscaping or decorating. But I'd like to say thank you so much for watching this far. I do understand it is quite a long video, but I wanted it to really showcase all of those tips and tricks that I think makes building easier in The Sims. And hopefully you have been able to take something away from the video and to learn further. Please, if you enjoy this episode, for coming episodes where we decorate and landscape, be sure to like and subscribe and comment down below and let me know what you think of the build so far. Let me know if there's something you would like to change, maybe the fence or the color of the house or the roofing, or just anything you would like to add. I would really love your input as it feels like we have built this together. So in saying that, goodbye everybody, and I'll see you in the next episode.